Namaskaram, dear viewers. It's an honor and pleasure to introduce Sanathana Dharma Action Group. This group has been involved in doing a lot of activities in and around the temple, preserving the tradition, maintaining pathasalas, ensuring the rights of the temple, also looking into the properties of the temple, taking care of the treasures and preserving the culture. Today we have with us C.A. Krishnamurthy, one of the founding members of SDAG, Sanathana Dharma Action Group, here with us. Let's talk to him to understand about what SDAG is doing, what is it all about, and what are their plans for the future. Let's welcome C.A. Krishnamurthy. Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskaram.
We'd be happy to know what is SDAG and why and how you started this association or the group.
SDAG stands for Sanathana Dharma Action Group, and we as friends, as young chartered accountants, management accountants, when we started our career some 40 years back, the social media was not that popular, and we were not getting the information relating to what is happening to the Hinduism, the challenges it was facing, and probably it was at the peak of its challenges in the years 90s when the Kashmir problem was very prevalent. We hardly got to get the news of that from newspapers after a couple of days, not fully though. There were problems in Tamil Nadu in plenty with various political organizations. We all felt that as Hindus, what is happening is not really the right thing for Hindus and Hinduism. And if we trace back, particularly when we started discussing this amongst us as young people, the decline of Hinduism across the entire Bharata, like it used to extend even places like Burma, Malaysia, Indonesia, and so on, and slowly, it's coming back to the India per se, and then there are also challenges.
Based on what is happening, you have put together a group to
Correct.
prevent the further decay or the further troubles into getting.
Absolutely. In fact, whereas we were discussing more of that as young people, we are not fully conversant was what was really happening, because obviously there have been things happening behind the scene. By the time we started getting matured, elderly people, we started realizing the kind of challenges the Hinduism is facing, Sanatana Dharma, so to speak, is facing. Though we say it's eternal, it has this huge set of challenges. So we thought it fit that we have to do something. It's not just because we have been discussing this for 20-25 years and hardly any progress we were making. So we wanted to make sure that we make certain definitive action which addresses these problems head on.
So what does your action group do now?
Yeah, so I'll just explain like what is the concept behind this, because we generally go by the word Kshatriya, which is the basic tenet of what a true Hindu is supposed to be doing when the Hinduism ideally is affected. It is nothing but the word is a combination of Kshatat plus Adharmat plus Drayate. That means when there is a negative thing that is happening, Kshatat, and Drayate, you need to get into action. And Dharma is definitely getting affected, and many people realize that. In fact, typically we have what we call as Hindus by name, HPN. They don't really understand what is happening. For instance, when I talk to many of my relatives and friends abroad, I was very surprised. They were not even aware that something called HRCE, which basically is an act probably developed or evolved by the British Raj for their own benefits to break down the Hindus, and then subsequently taken over by Congress government to, for whatever means, and it got into an act for almost every state, and every state is literally controlling all the Hindu temples. It's
So
not
you
just
mean to say that the state-controlled mission towards the action towards the temple management, which has been handed over to the state, it is known to many Hindus as say.
absolutely, like the challenge is, some may be knowing, some may turn a blind eye, some may think that okay, we go to the temples, we pray, God will take care. Some may think that yes, we need to do something. That percentage of people probably is minuscule as of today. And
So what do SDAG do towards this?
good question. So this is the background on which we developed, and now we thought it fit that we have, especially as we are growing, we want to get in more people, because this calls for a huge movement, because the challenges are too many. The challenges are too huge. Like I said, even not being aware of what HRC, what is the government control, how the government control literally affects the temple goers, the real worshippers. It may be a surprise to many that HRC takes away 1/6, that is 16% of the contribution of each Hindu makes towards the temple cost. It was a surprise even to me, because there's hardly any management that's required. And why should a Hindu only be affected by paying 1/6 of what he contributes, whereas it doesn't happen, let's say, in other religions? So that is the main reason or the background to which we thought that we should take it head on like a Kshatriya, get in people, get their buy-in, spread the message across.
So have you spread this awareness of this, that 1/6 is only going to the cause of the Hindu and the rest is not? Or what is the initiative you have taken for that?
Yeah, so we basically think that there are three broad initiatives that need to be addressed. First and foremost is the legal aspect, because there are some activists who are working, but it's again a minuscule. The kind of challenges the temples face and the kind of support that they need in terms of both legal framework as well as financial support to fight all this is really a huge, horrendous task. Obviously, there are many cases, many judgments, many litigations that's going on, but yet in terms of the implementation or the hard to implement is rather very, very weak from government, because there are no really people asking questions. Let me just
So you are taking legal initiatives, or you filing cases against the Tamil Nadu HRNC?
Good. Especially because we are from accounting background, we thought it fit that we need to understand how the temple finances are managed at the first place. So we
Can you name any case that you have filed, or a particular situation where
Correct.
you are?
So, like if you need to understand, basically as accountants or as finance people, you need to understand what's happening as in terms of their income, expenditure and balance sheet. So we try to get this kind of information, and to our surprise, there are only 3 temple reports which were put down in the HRC website of Tamil Nadu, because we are mostly in Tamil Nadu. And these temples, to name them, are Kapalishwara temple, which is a famous temple in Mylapore in Chennai, the Parthasarathi temple, which is again another very famous temple in Chennai, and Vadapaini Murugan temple. These temple audit reports, and you believe me, when we got into this audit report, we just got the audit report, we didn't get the financial statements. As per the directives of the earlier judgments, the financial statements and the audits were to be filed, were to be put in the HRC website. Even as of today, we could just see only these 3 temples. So we went into this, it is running into, let's say, 200 pages. We started analyzing, collating data, putting together, and to our extreme surprise, the kind of losses that have been incurred in terms of the property which have been taken away of these temples, the incomes unaccounted, basic things like the bank reconciliations not being completed, the outstandings running into, like one of these temples, 22 crores of rupees outstanding amount to be collected by their own audit report. So just imagine if this audit were to be done by an external
third
auditor,
party or an external auditor,
which we have been seriously asking for. So we have filed a case. We have filed a representation to the Vadapaini temple, and they have responded that they will take corrective action, and it doesn't call. We were looking for a forensic audit, because a forensic audit is where it goes into the complete bottom of all the financial transactions in terms of the commercial proprietary, whether all the financial dealings were properly done as per the HRC Act, whether all the approvals that's required, it is commensurate with what is required as per the HRC principles and the temples and the dharmic way of doing things. So everything was a surprise. So we look for it, but a blatant answer to say that it doesn't call for a forensic audit. We have our own audit department. Suffice for us to understand that there is much, much more beneath the scene. We have in fact given a representation to the new government, to the minister. We have told him we would like to have a face-to-face meeting, and we would like to address all these things square on. And we said voluntarily we can offer all our services, because again I can tell you with kind of experience that we have had in dealing with this situation, it calls for an entire ERP solution, what we call as entire enterprise resource planning, which encompasses all the facets.
Are these temples ready to port their data to any digital platform? Or in these still maintained on manual records?
To my experience, that is a very sad part of the story. We are in an age. We are in an age where we as like CFOs, and we look for accounts, we manage. Everything is digitized. Everything is completely automated, and it is so traditional and archaic that even the receipts and expenditure includes capital expenditure. And I don't want to talk too much of accounting jargons here, but suffice to say that everything is amiss. Nothing ties in terms of the financial information, and obviously there are many things happening under the carpet. So we want to just bring it out, and that's why we have asked for this meeting. After this, I believe this will draw his attention, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to meet him, explain to him, and we are willing to provide this kind of support, because once you do for one temple a good setup with an excellent accounting system, obviously that can be replicated across all the temples. And if I may throw this kind of a bombshell, the losses that have been estimated to have accrued to the temples through the HRC over the years is in excess of 50,000 crores.
My goodness.
50,000 crores. And of course I have not verified these numbers. But I can collate the data and give some sort of a backup that this could be a reasonable number.
So this is one of your mission, that you want to bring some digital discipline into the HRNC. Our prayers and wishes that you sail through this and you get this done. Apart from this, we also hear that you run some partashalas.
Yes.
Which part of Tamil Nadu do you run
correct.
this?
So we again, going back to the philosophy on which we started, we wanted to address this in sort of three pillars. One pillar is the legal initiative, which I explained to you, which is perhaps calling for the maximum attention, both in terms of the financial, lawyer support, legal brains coming in together, addressing these problems quite on. The second pillar is the social connect. We want to take this message across all people, across the country, across even people living outside of India, because we want to take the message. For instance, typically a Tiruparangandram temple, as simple issue is lighting of the lamp, where the High Court has given a judgment and still it's lingering on, a typical Hindu faith, and there's hardly any, even I understand the other communities have accepted, but somehow there's reluctance. So there is message day in, day out. There are things happening like this in different parts, which has to be taken to people across, particularly to the younger generation, for two reasons. One is that they should be aware of the problem challenges. Two, they have to understand what is basically the Sanatana or the Hindu Dharma. If I can take a Tamil quote, we have a saying, "Nokkariya nokke, nunukkariya nunnunarve," which is nothing but an exact version of Aham Brahmamsi by Adi Shankara, the basic tenet of Sanathana Dharma or the Hinduism. So many people, the values of our Tamil literature or the values of our Vedic traditions, the dharmic way of living, how you can live in inner peace, how you can live in harmony with all other people, following the dharmic way of living, is the main message we want to carry. And we want to carry through scholars, intellectuals who are well-read people. We want to support them, take their messages and give in bits and pieces in an interesting manner to especially the younger generations, the next generation. Because our biggest fear is that if we don't carry this across for the next generations, the message will get lost and the values.
Supposing someone wants to join hands with you, what do you expect someone who is?
Yes. So, obviously we welcome people. We need people, especially the lawyers, the accountants, the IT professionals, the social media people who are the influencers, even people like you who can sort of propagate this kind of a message across. We welcome all of them with folded hands, because whatever they can, the little amount of time they can spend in understanding what we are trying to say, in realizing the challenges and appreciating all the excellent work that I've been speaking of, is what we really look for. So we are promoting this with our websites, with social media. We welcome people with open hand to join us. If possible, contribute financially, or if not financially, in terms of time, because different people have different ideas, and when it's being discussed at length in all these forums, they get to know what is really happening. And this is one of our major goals toward this SDAG action. So coming back to the third aspect of this pillar, which is in sync with the first two in terms of the social connect, is in terms of how do we propagate the religious education part of it. What I mean as religious education is several facets of that. Veda Pathashala, which is basically the Vedas on which the Sanatana, the entire Dharma is built. Then in different state languages, for instance Tamil, there is huge amount of literature. We need to set up schools and colleges to teach Tiruvasagam, Tevaram, Tirupavai, Tiruvambavai, all these things young kids will have to learn. We need teachers. We need proper infrastructure for that. And we have to encourage all of that. So we call this under religious education. More than that, we want to even set up a college.
See, I would like to interrupt you at this point, because today we see that more people living outside India are very particular in inculcating these things to their young children. Do you still see a vacuum that you would be able to fill in this area?
Yes, you're bang on that. In fact, if I can even say, my daughter lives in US and her kids are going through this kind of education. Many of her friends, the appreciation of this kind of values, what I see abroad, probably is not as much there as in India, especially because there are strains at different state of society in terms of meeting day to day. So the value systems, the learning through a proper parental kind of a guidance and education is something which is required for. And definitely once we address this right from the young age level, from kids to colleges, and they understand, they realize the values, it will be a huge success. I recently, in fact, saw a video from one young girl who beautifully explained one of the slokas. So it calls for a greater amount of involvement of this educational system we want to promote. More than that, coming back to the temple challenges that we have, we want to set up a proper curriculum, a proper, maybe a college with a diploma or a degree, which teaches how to manage temples, which covers all aspects of temple management, be it legal, be it administration, be it finance, be it even what is our agamas, what are the prayers, everything needs to be addressed.
Aren't the Parashalas doing this already? The teaching of the agamas.
Yes.
How are things to be kept, run, and maintained?
Correct. The Veda Padashalas are definitely addressing, they are teaching the Vedas, and there are quite a few. In fact, we have provided, because people are coming forward to provide that kind of financial support. In one of the major Veda Padashalas, we created a public address system to address all the students, about 270 students in the campus. When there is a quick notification to be sent across, we supported with a solar panel in another Veda Padashala in Hyderabad. So we are not restricted to Tamil Nadu in terms of the support, but we want to create this kind of infrastructure. We are many other small Padashalas, they require more amount of support. We are mobilizing money and supporting them. Definitely they are teaching, but as I said, in terms of
to
the wider
propagate, to reach more wider
perspective, the bigger, and even with the meanings, even what it is meant, why something is being done, this calls for a huge movement, I would call it. And this is where we want to pitch in and play a massive role in this.
Awesome. I hope more people join hands with you and help you or take your mission forward.
Yeah.
And the three major area that you focus on, the temple work, the legal aspect of it, and the educating the Hindu masses in the scriptures and literatures that are available in plenty.
Yeah.
That is mind-boggling task ahead of you.
Absolutely.
And what is your vision towards the future?
That's an excellent question. So in fact, we prepared what we call a typical SWOT: strength, weakness, opportunities, and strength. So in terms of the strengths, many of the viewers would be knowing that the grandeur of the temples, the history, the historical, the cultural, and the values it carries, the stories behind each of these gods and goddesses, and the kind of effort that are put in to build those temples. This is something amazing. Having traveled to many countries, I can say one thing confidently. Much smaller countries have been, say, Thailand or Indonesia, much smaller historical significance. They sort of project, advertise, and attract a huge tourist.
So that's tourism.
Tourism.
That flourishes completely on tourism.
Tourism. So if we have the right infrastructure, and not necessarily to even generate money, even just to propagate the values, propagate what it stands for. Like each temple is built with certain, we can imagine, you go to Tanjavur temple, go to Chidambaram temple, you will appreciate the kind of work that has been done, and every sculpture has been done with so much of. So we want to see that these trends are well carried out to all the Sanatana or Hindu people. They are welcome to visit, understand, and more importantly, the culture, and the arts, and whatever the traditional values, we want to develop those trends. Coming to the weaknesses, like we already discussed, in terms of maladministration, 43,000 temples only in Tamil Nadu, most of them not being maintained well. Huge administrative challenges there, problems. So, in terms of the weaknesses, mainly the maintenance of temples, not even pujas being conducted out of these 43, a huge number of temples, and the maladministration, what I described in detail. So all these have to be addressed square on, and this is where I see a huge opportunity here. Once we correct all these problems, we generate this kind of revenue and make them self-sustaining, make them do all the pujas, maintain the temples well, probably if necessary even advertise or take this message across, bring more tourists. There is a huge opportunity to grow our culture and temples.
That's an awesome vision to grow the culture.
So hopefully this, as I said, calls for a good amount of government support, legal intervention where required, and people realizations, because most of them, if they go to temples, they pray, come back, they feel satisfied. But in terms of what we can do, in terms of how they can be presented, how the message can be carried across, the values, as I said, of the Hindu Dharma, how we have to nurture talent, especially from Veda Padasalas. There is a young person who created a recent record.
Summarize.
Yeah, and we want to support such people. We want to make sure that all of them are well recognized. They are put on the pedestal of our social status, and they deserve the kind of respect that they carry. So this is our main out of the SWOT analysis. And we are taking all efforts that's required. As I said, we require more and more support. We want to grow this organization to a self-sustaining in thousands and thousands of number. I'm sure it will happen. And especially when we get the Gen Z and the younger people who appreciate all the point that we are discussing, it's going to be a huge success. And
we wish the same, sir.
Yeah.
We wish you good luck in taking forward this mission and establishing the Hinduism education. We wish you all the very best, sir. Thank you for joining us.
thank you so much. Thank you.